Hello. So, my name's Morgan, um, and I did have a YouTube channel, probably about 4 years ago, but I was in a bad situation then, and, I did not get the chance to, um, keep up with it, and, so I am here to tell my story and hopefully start a channel. And in this channel, I would like to make awareness to many, many different topics. So part of it is anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and ADHD, and as well as PTSD. So, I am 29 years old. I have a beautiful 6-year-old little girl. She is my whole world. Being her mom is something I would never, ever in my life would want to change. She is autistic, with severe separation anxiety, ADHD, and bipolar disorder. Now, some of you are thinking, how does a 6-year-old have autism, bipolar, ADHD, and severe anxiety? It actually goes back to a bad, horrible situation. When I was 19, my parents split up. My dad left. A month after my dad left, he had gotten very, very, very sick. And my dad ended up getting a infected tooth that turned into a flesh-eating bacteria. My dad was put into a medical-induced coma for about 12 to 14 days. The doctors had said that medically he was not supposed to be under longer than 10 or 11 days because of the chance of brain damage, things like that. Now, luckily, my father survived. He ended up having to have surgery, and they had taken out a bunch of dead and infected flesh from around the areas where he had gotten the flesh-eating bacteria. And then they ended up having to do a skin graft and take skin from his stomach and put it on the areas that had gotten dug deep. Now, at that point, my parents were still going to go through with the divorce. Now, my father and I did not have the best of relationship at all. My father had bipolar disorder. He also had rheumatoid arthritis and skin lupus. Because he had his rheumatoid arthritis, he was on so many different medications, and I'm talking like prednisone, Vicodin, plenty of, high good drugs because of the pain he would be in from the rheumatoid arthritis. And he didn't feel that it was necessary for him to take medications for the bipolar because he had taken so many medications already because of his rheumatoid arthritis. And on top of that, my father was an alcoholic. So growing up, my father was easily agitated, easily to irritate, frustrate, anger, whatever it might be. And when my dad drank, it was a toss-up between whether you were going to get the happy, lovey-dovey dad that you would want, or the dad who was criticizing everything you did. Getting mad at you for every little thing you do. I can remember being 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old even, and going to my dad's mini fridge and getting him a beer. I can remember when me and my sister were little girls, my dad had gotten really upset. My mom was out, and my dad let his anger get the best of him, and my sister had gotten handprints on her face, and I had a handprint on my butt, because he just didn't know how to control his anger and handle the situation better. So growing up into my teens, my young adulthood, I could remember coming home from school, watching a TV show called Seventh Heaven, if you guys heard of that. It's about a Christian family, a mom and a dad who have 5 children, and towards the end they end up having 7 children, but they had children and the father was always involved. Yes, the father would lose his temper with his children, but he always made it right. And he was always there to support his children and have a relationship with his children no matter what. That was the father type I had always wanted growing up, and I never got it. I would always feel like, what am I doing wrong to make him mad? What am I doing wrong to upset him? What am I doing to cause the issue? So that's the kind of relationship I had with my father. And after I had my daughter, so fast forward to 2018. My daughter was born in 2016. So in October of 2018, I reached out to my dad and I wanted him to meet his granddaughter, my daughter, before I had the chance to regret it in the future. Now, when I got to talk to my dad and see him in person, it was a little strange, and I guess a part of me was a little scared of how it would go. But when I saw my dad, it was quite a shock to what I got to see, because he wasn't drinking. There was no drinking at all. And his anger, I mean, he lived with his mom and his brother, so yeah, he got frustrated and irritated with them, and yeah, him and my uncle butted heads all the time, but when it came to me, when it came to my daughter, he was that father I always wanted. He was calm. He didn't lose his temper. It was just that dad I always wanted. And at this point, I was living 45 minutes away from him. And I was in a situation that was actually very dangerous for my daughter and myself. And one day the situation got so bad that I said, "Dad, come get me and the baby, because it's not safe anymore. I can't do it." That next day, he came to get us. It was a couple days before Thanksgiving. It was like the 23rd or 24th. And and ever since he came to get me and the baby, my dad was having stomach pains. You could tell his stomach would swell up every so often. And he thought it was his acid reflux. And he would go get chocolate milk at the gas station because he knew that the chocolate milk usually calmed his stomach down. A couple days later, it was probably between November 26th and November 28th, me, the baby, and my grandma took my dad to the emergency room. He had a fever. It was a low grade fever. It was like 99.8 or something. But he ended up having to go in because of the flesh-eating bacteria he had 2 years prior had weakened his immune system. So anytime he got a little cut, a little fever, a little infection, anything, it had to get checked out right away. And unfortunately, he was in the hospital for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. In a Cleveland clinic. He was in there for 2 weeks. They had done tests and all this stuff, and come to find out, my dad's stomach was swelling up and he was bleeding internally. And it was December 11th, 2018, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We get word that my dad is being rushed into the operating room to try to repair the bleeders. They were they opened him up, and he had blood out on the table. He was 49 years old. He bled out on the table. They gave him 9 shots of epi. But on December 12th, 2018, 1 a.m., surgeon comes in, sits down, and tells us my dad's dead. And to this day, I still am having issues dealing with it. And in all of that time, during the whole time of my dad passing and all that, I was going through a bad situation of my own. You see, the one thing I haven't said yet is my dad came to pick me and the baby up. But there was one other person that he picked up as well. It was my daughter's biological father. And I was being abused, verbally, mentally, physically, and sometimes sexually. And it had went on for 4 years. Three and a half, 4 years or so. Now, a lot of you might watch this and question, is she doing this for money? Is she doing this to get sympathy? To get attention? And honestly, it could be far from all that. I look at all these YouTube channels. I look at all these people who have these channels. And you see young moms who have depression and anxiety. You see parents who have children who are special needs. You see people who have family members who are sick. But you don't see the full effect of it all. I'm 29 years old. I have anxiety, I have depression, I have PTSD, I have ADHD, I have bipolar, I have all these things that's wrong with me. And I also have my mom who is has fibromyalgia. My mom who has depression, anxiety. I have my soon-to-be husband who is epileptic. I have my daughter who is autistic, bipolar, ADHD, and severe separation anxiety. I have all these things. And I don't think that people bring as much awareness to it as there should be. Just because I have anxiety, depression, bipolar, doesn't mean I'm not a good mom. It doesn't mean I can't be there and help and do what I'm supposed to do as a mom. It doesn't mean I can't help take care of my mom. It doesn't mean I can't do these things that most people think I can't because of my mental issues. I think a lot of people just look at these videos and don't understand. You cannot fully understand or judge somebody until you have seen what they go through on a daily basis. You have all these filters, you have all these things that can change videos, alter them, make them look better, make them look cute. But it doesn't show the rawness of somebody's issue. And I know that may sound odd. How can you see somebody's issue? You can't. But you can bring more awareness to it. I guess that's it for now. I'll be doing another video soon enough. Bye, guys.